thank you so much for coming tonight as we continue with our Masters of Dread Ravenloft campaign. We're jumping into episode 9 of our Ravenloft game. Thank you so much for joining us. You can always catch up with previous episodes on our YouTube channel at Rolling With Advantage. You can also find our podcast on pretty much any platform that you want to download podcasts. We're there under Rolling With Advantage as well. And also we play here on Twitch at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Monday nights. So however you're hearing us, thank you for following us, and you can check us out. You can also follow us on our Discord if you want to join in our community one-shots that we're doing. If you want to play D&D with us, you can jump in our Discord, and we have a game going about every couple weeks where I will run a one-shot for our community. You can come in and play, and we're doing like level 3. I might do a level 5 one or something like that. It's a great opportunity to test out builds, get to know the community, and just play a quick, fun D&D game. So we've been doing that. Any other announcements? I think that's it. I think that's all we've got. Our characters are going to be level 5 tonight as we are returning into our story. Yes, so our martial characters are super excited because level 5 is the big level where they can swing again. So they're excited about that. All right. So with that, let us dive in and let us begin our story tonight. But as we begin each and every week, we don't begin in Ravenloft. We don't begin in Harakir. We begin in Waterdeep. And in Waterdeep, we return to the Trollskull Manor. And as all of our patrons are coming in, and everyone in our Twitch chat, welcome, come on in, as we are now filing into the Trollskull Manor to hear Marcus Madmore tell his story that he has prepared for us this week. So now let's go ahead and move ourselves into the Trollskull Manor. And as everyone comes in, you see Marcus is walking about the tavern, and he's welcoming all of the patrons in, but he also has a little bit of a somber look to him as he's going over his notes and making sure that he seems to be nervous about tonight, wanting to make sure that everything is correct, as you see him in the corner kind of reciting some things to himself. Normally as he comes out, he's full of confidence, he just walks right out, starts telling the story. Tonight you notice a little bit nervousness to him, because he's really wanting to make sure he gets this part of the story correct. And it kind of makes everyone kind of suspicious or curious. Why, after all of these weeks of hearing this story, why is tonight a little bit different? And with that, as he walks out, Lu Zhong, the half-orc proprietor of the establishment, is motioning, "Oh, good, come everyone, sit." And everyone is going and sitting down and having their meal. Ale is being brought around. Also, they've brought in a roast boar for tonight, as they're bringing out several large boar, and they're cutting up and slicing them at the table. So everyone is enjoying their meal and getting together and kind of gossiping what they think is going to happen now that Durandal and Xiv have made it their way to Muhar. So it's kind of, everyone's trying to figure out what's going to happen next. Will Xiv find Nilissa in time and those types of things. So as everyone is kind of piling in and kind of chatting with each other, Marcus looks over and he looks to the back at the minstrels in the back, and he says, "Oh, yes, it is time." And after weeks and weeks, they've kind of got this on cue that the minstrels in the back, they bring the music down, and with that, Marcus begins to move his hands around his one hand circling his palm of the other, and as he does that, a small orb pops up. And as it does, the music that kicks up is the music that we heard when he began his story, not the music that we've been hearing as he tells his story from Harakir. It's almost as if this is going back, and he's going back in the beginning of the story. And as he does that, the orb, which we're used to seeing it turn an orange color, it becomes like a violet or a purple as it begins growing a little bit bigger. And he stops and he stops it in midair, right before it gets to full, so to see what it is. And he kind of teases it there for a second. And as he does, he looks over the crowd and he goes, "Tonight I must tell you a little bit. We must go backwards in order for us to go forward. For the story that we have been telling, a lot of you believe that it is a scary story, a horror tale, if it were. But it is actually why we are so interested in this story, is because it is grounded in something that is very important and near and dear to all of us. For it is a story that is bound in love. And with that, I would like to go backwards and tell you a little of the story of Malagris and Nilissa." And as he does that, he opens the orb. And as he opens the orb, you see like this incredibly advanced civilization. You see these tall buildings and lights that seem to be working with some type of electricity. And as he pulls up, you see this new vision of these two people walking, very young, very in love, walking about. You see one wearing a very long, like Victorian dress. Nihilissa, as she promenades down. Malagris walking next to him, carrying what looks to be some type of staff, or maybe a sword cane or something of that nature, as he's walking down, and you see them looking at each other and madly in love with each other, but a look of concern on both Nihilissa and Malagris's face as they're walking about. Malagris, with his long and beautiful young hair, looks into his bride, or lover as it were, and looks at her and begins to talk, and we can't hear exactly what the conversation is as now we are looking into it, but you can tell that there is a look of dread as tears begin to run down the face of Nihilissa. And as he does that, you hear the voice of Marcus beam in again and say that their tale did not end in happiness, for it has not ended yet, for a foul fate befell Nihilissa. And as she fell into death, Malagris, ever heartbroken, decided he would do all that he could to find a way to cheat death, to find a way to reunite them. And it is with that we see the visage of Nihilissa move from this youthful, this exuberant young woman, to being that of a ghost. A ghost that has always been with and haunted Malagris as he's waited and toiled in his laboratory, looking for some way to connect them back together, to bring her back, or to try to bend reality or anything he could, and he could never find the answer. And in this life he failed, and that is why he created Xiv, the body, the monstrous body that it was created. He put his mind at the end of his life, at the end of Malagris's life, he moved his consciousness back into this body, and that is where we have picked up the story. As Nihilissa has been chained by the Pharaoh Anktepot in the realm of Harakir, we return now to Muhar. And as we move into Muhar, we finally get to see the city gates of Muhar. And as the story turns from this violet color, we pick up this new music, this bustling sound of somewhat of a desert metropolis, if you were, of hundreds of people moving about the town. And as the gates open up, we see our two companions. We see Durandal, and we also see Xiv walking in. What we do not see is we do not see Balthazar, and we do not see Magdalene. They have stayed back. Before entering the town, it seems that Balthazar did not believe he could enter town, that it was warded against what he called his kind. So he and Magdalene have backed away and have told the two companions that he would meet them after they have found any clues on what they could do to solve this journey that they're on, as they're now setting off to travel to the city of the dead to find a way to free Nihilissa from the Pharaoh Anktepot. And that is where we begin our story. We begin tonight as our two individuals are walking into the beautiful open doors of Muhar. And with that, we pass over and we look at Xiv as he's walking in, horse being carried behind him. He's with the reins of the horse as he walks in, and he looks about. There's two large wooden towers next to the gates that are open, armed with bowmen and pikemen as they stare down and look at this monstrous individual walking in with a long two-handed sword about his back. And he's looking over and looking to say, what is it that you want to do, Xiv?
I'm going to look up at the guards on the wall and be like, hello up there!
As you look up, you notice that there's a wooden pole protruding in between the two towers. And in the middle of that tower, and the middle of that pole, you see a small 3-foot cage hanging there. And you didn't notice it when you first came. It's directly above you. And as you kind of look about, there seems to be some individual trapped in this small 3-foot cage that's hanging just above the gate. And as you look up and you greet the guards look down and say, Be on your best behavior, or you'll end up like the cat.
There's a cat in there?
And with that, one of the guards reaches over and takes his giant polearm and bangs on the top of the cage that rattles, and you hear this, is it some humanoid cat seems to be locked inside this little crate.
What, pray tell, did he do?
Don't be worried unless you're one of those heretics. He's a worshipper of the old gods. We don't take lightly to them. And he was caught thieving.
I'm not sure I know any gods, so okay.
And with that, Durandal, what are you doing?
I'm gonna look up and just study the cat.
You look up and you see, you have seen one or two of these in your travels back in your world. You are familiar with the race that they're very rare, and the mist doesn't take them often to these realms, but is something called a tabaxi.
What hue is this cat? What color? Is it a calico?
No,
or is it
no, he's
black, perhaps.
He is black with shades of gray.
Okay. I'm gonna look up at the guards and go, what did he get his dirty little paws on? What was he trying to steal? And what gods does this heathen with his heathenish ways worship?
If you don't know, it's best you keep your nose out of such things. But a great treasure was retrieved just this morning, and this little thieving... And he stops himself and looks up and goes, anyway, he tried to take it before it could be given to the priestess. And
Where's
with that,
this priestess you speak
when
of?
you as Xiv, as you're interjecting with that, you hear the voice of this small little, like he's crunched up in this small little cage, yell back out. He goes, "It doesn't belong to her. It's ours."
Where might I find this priestess? I need to speak with her.
One of the guards looks down and he goes, if you seek to wish audience, you will need to talk to Morthus. He's second in command, you could say, but he's all the way down, and he points down, and you see there's one building kind of standing above the rest at the very end. There's a little bit more of a fortification. You see a larger building. It's a little bit more ornate than the other sandstone buildings that you're seeing around you. It's obvious that the opulence is obviously staying in that tower.
Thank you, good sir.
We'll stroll in.
Okay. As you stroll in, the first thing you see to your right, as you see people walking about, everyone here garb, mostly human or humanoid in nature. You see, some humans or half-elves, as they were. Most of Akirans are the first ones you're seeing. You're also seeing a few people walking around that are dressed a little bit differently than the rest, with more vibrant colors, where everyone else is wearing different types of brown or tans. But you do see some that are wearing more vibrant colors, similar to the Vistani lady that you saw earlier.
Xiv, who do you want to approach with these magical gifts we have?
There is a market that you see off to your right.
We should probably go to the market first to see what we were dealing with here.
Okay.
I agree.
And unload whatever unnecessary fluff we have.
You walk into the market, you see vibrant blues and purple, long drapes covering over, protecting the market from even though there's a constant shade because of the between the sand and the mist, the sun is still rough. So they kind of keep that up to kind of keep shade. But as you walk through, you see beautiful like rugs and tapestries and things, and gently woven things about different garments and clothing. A haberdashery, if you will, Xiv, catches your eye off to the side as you see different types of hats for different types of desert travel.
Do they have a fez?
I'm going to go with yes, because the idea of your character in a fez is hysterical to me.
Xiv, I'm buying you that hat.
Yes,
My good.
Yes, they do have is there a color that you want? Is it a red fez? Is that what you're looking for?
Definitely a red fez.
A red fez. Yes, there's a dark like a bloodstone color fez that catches your eye at one of the establishments.
I would be most appreciative.
All right, so you walk over. You see Beck. He looks over. Oh, oi! My name's Beck. Come. Big burly individual, big beard, bald head. Also wearing a fez. And you see his a little bit dirtier as he looks over, and you see that he is actually selling similar ones. And he looks over and goes, "Oh, yo!" And he's not as big as you, but he's the biggest person you have seen. And he sees you and goes, "Oh, good to see another big strapping boy man as myself. Please, you look good in one of these as well. Yeah, I see you're eyeing it."
I would very much. I like your hat.
Oh, hey, you've just come out from the desert, I see. What treasures have you brought to trade?
Well, is there someone in the market who can help us identify certain things of magical nature?
I am more of a tailor. What items have you found? What treasures of discovery have you found?
Do you take gold or silver?
Well, of course we do. Normally we barter, but I will absolutely take gold or silver. What have you found?
You still have like the pink diamonds and stuff, Danny?
We have coins. I'm pretty sure we have coins. I don't want to give up anything for just a fez. No offense, I love you. Let's see.
I would be most interested in the gold piece if you have it.
I'm pretty sure we do.
For the sake of time, I believe you do have a gold piece.
Yeah.
That you were, if I remember correctly, the Romans that you pilfered earlier had gold. So you pull out one of the coins that have Caesar's head on it, and you toss him the one gold coin. He looks at it and goes, "Oh, this is most, please, take it. And here. And as he hands you the fez, he also looks over and goes, "Oh, your horse, here." And he hands you this very nice like red blanket for your horse as well. "Oh, this will help you as well." And he hands you a nice horse blanket.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
Barding for the horse, thank you.
Yes. Is there anything else that you would like to shop from the tailor?
Do you have anything in
about-
a magical nature?
Not as much. I have nice rugs, but not. I don't really deal with those things. But if you go see Nit around the corner, he's more of a apothecary, herbalist, if you will. You can also go see a Rye around the side for oddities. Rye for oddities. Nit is our apothecary.
Do you
Go
have any
ahead.
robes?
Robes?
Yes.
Yes, but of course. Would you like a nice robe to go with your? I mean, you're wearing like something, but he has much nicer.
I've been wearing a black leather duster in the
Well,
desert for.
Right. So if you want to ditch that, you got some desert clothes from the traders.
I'm gonna keep it, but
Right.
I want to wear something that's a little more breathable.
Oh, sure. Well, he has some very fine garments that you could wear, especially if you plan on going to an audience with the priestess later. You may want to look the part.
Yeah.
So he goes, "I'll tell you what, I can dress both of you for, if you have another one of those gold pieces, I'd be more than happy to dress the both of you for your stay in Muhar."
We might blend in a little more.
I also want one of those cool black hats that Van Helsing wears. I know you have no idea who that is.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, so you have your black hat. I don't know which type of. I don't know the name of that hat, but I know what you're talking about.
Is it the tricorn?
No. I understand.
Well, it's like
I understand. So you get the wide brimmed hat. So he gives you your hat. You're both wearing more suitable clothing. At this point, Xiv, you don't care about armor. You have the studded leather, but this can kind of go over that, so you can still wear it under you. So you have at this point, the two of you are dressed more like Akirans. You more blend into the world and the surroundings, and you spend the best part of an hour getting fitted as you toss him another gold piece. He seems quite excited to help you look more like the surroundings. And with that, the two of you are now dressed more appropriately like Akirans. As you've looked around, there's several smells that are filling the air. You smell cooked meat, which is something you haven't smelled in quite a while. While this doesn't interest Xiv that much, Durandal, you are quite interested in smelling something that might taste a little better than the fowl that you've been catching in the air. And with that, Xiv, as you're walking about, you do kind of turn the corner and you see, looks to be someone is got around the corner that wasn't mentioned by Beck, as another shop that is picked up that you look over and it has lots of papers and scrolls.
I'm gonna wander that way.
What were the two shopkeepers? Sorry, I forgot my pen.
Nit and Rye. Nit would be the apothecary, and then you have Rye as well. And Rye is oddities.
Okay.
All of these are fairly close by, though. Right?
Yeah, you're all kind of in one general.
Like a bazaar type.
Right. You go over and you see an older individual, longer beard, very dry, parched skin. Seems like someone who's been in the sun entirely too much over his entire life. Looking over everything, and he's got like these glasses. One of the glasses has like a little crack in it. As he looks up and he sees you, the large individual walking forward, he goes, "Oh, hello there, good sir. Have you found anything in the desert to trade?"
What sundries do you sell, sir?
"Oh, I have maps and also scrolls that have been mostly recovered by various expeditions into either the labyrinth below or the desert to the east."
Any of the Forbidden City?
The Forbidden City? You mean the City of the Dead? I don't know, no one's ever seen her. We only have seen the obelisk in the distance, but what we do have, I have a map of our world that has been drawn out by cartographers. It's always changing, but it gives us a good idea. Would you interested in a map?
Possibly. First, I need to see someone about offloading some oddities.
Oh, what type of oddities do you have? And he's stroking his beard. He might be interested depending on what it is.
I'm going to pull out the book.
Oh, where did you find this book?
A trade.
Trade. He's looking over the book. And what exactly did I tell you about this book already?
It is a magical tome.
Magical tome. He looks over and goes, "Yes, looking over there, I believe. Where did you find this? This is quite extraordinary."
As I said, it was a trade from wandering travelers.
Oh, well, I hope you gave a worthy price for it. It is quite valuable. I could identify it for you. For something. Do you have something to barter for my services, good sir?
I'm going to plop one of the pink diamonds on the table.
Oh, sure, absolutely. And with that, he pulls out a small little rod and he kind of waves over it. And you hear him say, as he casts over it, you hear him begin to pray. And you hear him say, Essay, give me the wisdom. And essay is a word that you heard before. You're not sure where, but he keeps praying to somebody named Essay. Essay, and as he prays over, he looks over and goes, yes, this is... Whoever would read this tome would find themselves marketably more intelligent, sir. But I warn you, believe it is one-time use.
Well, thank you very much. I'm assuming that the extra from the diamond could perhaps acquire one of these maps.
I will throw it in as well, here. And with that, he hands you the map. You unscroll it, and for the first time since you've been here, you suddenly have an idea of where we are. You see the eternal river here that you traveled up, and now you see Muhar. And the other thing you notice is across the desert here is the city of the dead, but now you have a bearing.
And is this breath false in the Forgotten where the huge storms are that sucked us down?
Possibly.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and what was your name, sir?
Sabif. If you have anything else you need identifying, or I could help you. If you have any more of those pink stones, I'd be very much interested in those.
I'm gonna nudge Xiv and say, what about the pearl? What do you think?
I'm gonna look to the left and look to the right and say, one more item. But this requires your discretion.
Oh, but of course. And he reaches over and he kind of pulls you into his tent. He pulls like a shawl that kind of goes all the way around. He also reaches over and he goes, Joba. And you see this little girl come up. He goes, keep a watch while we are conducting business. And you see this little girl go, yes, Papa. And she walks over and she's kind of like closing it and just kind of like ties it together and is kind of standing guard. He goes, oh yes, come. What is it you have found, good sir?
Going to have Danny hand me the bag of holding and very elegantly and showily pull out the pearl with a flourish.
You pull out the pearl. As you pull out the pearl, you also set down another. You have another one of those pink diamonds, right?
Yeah, there was 3 of them.
Okay. He again pulls out the rod and says, "Essay, I come to you again, and I ask." And with that, he also pulls out this little statue, similar to one of the statues that you saw out in the river. The Egyptian-style statues. He sits next to it. The eyes of the statue seem to flicker and light up a little as he is casting this ritual. As he casts the ritual over the pearl itself, he looks over and he goes, "Oh, good sir, you are quite fortunate. This pearl possesses much power." And he tells you that, I will just tell you what it does instead of role-playing it. While this pearl is on your person, it is a pearl of power. You can use an action to speak its command word and regain 1 expended spell slot. If the expended spell slot is 4th level or higher, the new slot is 3rd level. Once you use the pearl, it can't be used again until the next day. It basically gives you an extra spell slot. And it is an attuned item if you want to use it.
Well, Durandal.
Perhaps.
Now, are your spells intelligence-based or are they wisdom-based?
Wisdom. I believe the intelligence should probably go to you. No offense. You're
Mine
more
is
than...
a 14. But
So-
yeah.
I'm gonna say, Sabif, do you have any other items similar to the ones we have brought to you today? Maybe perhaps of a magical nature?
Outside of maps and things of that nature, I do have some scrolls, spell scrolls that have also been collected from the remains of others in the deserts. Are you interested in such fairs?
What do you think, Xiv?
He tells you he has 2 arcane and 1 divine spell. The arcane spells that he has Melf's Acid Arrow, a 2nd level arcane spell. He has Wall of Fire, a 4th level arcane spell. And he has he pulls out this other scroll, and it's like, there's like a sizable thunk as it hits, as it's like 7 pages that he flips through, and he goes, "And this is quite divine. It is the Scroll of Regeneration."
Ooh.
Interesting.
So Melf's Acid Arrow, Wall of Fire, and Regenerate. All of which were rolled up by our friends in Discord today.
Let's see.
I shall remember your stall here. I do want to check out the oddities.
Be sure you see Knit as well if you're looking for any brews. I believe she was concocting just a couple more this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, friend.
Let's head over there to the oddities.
You go over to the oddities. As you walk in, there's shelves seem kind of barren as you walk in. And you see this younger gentleman, very very neat goatee, turban, looking about, just completely flustered. And he walks and goes, "Oh, gentlemen, welcome. Come on in. I do apologize. It seems I am out of wares today. I have been liberated of my wares, apparently in the early morning." As he's looking about, quite flustered, and he looks down and he goes, "Except for this is all that they left me." And he has this one little stone. Thief and heretics, all of them. And he holds it. He goes, "Well, if you have something for trade, all I have is this." And he's holding up this one little stone.
What is that?
He looks over and goes, "I believe the beef told me it's something called a Yoon stone."
How you spell it?
IOUN.
Oh, yeah. What does one of these do, friend?
Stores a spell, right?
No, that depends on which one. This one, I'll tell you, hang on. Where's my notes? Okay, here we go. This one makes you aware. You cannot be surprised while you carry it.
Mm.
It's a very dark blue color, and he kind of tosses it in the air, and as he does, it kind of starts circling like gently around his head. And he goes, "Yes. If only I was wearing this before the thieves came in, I might not have known it was happening."
Do you have any suspects of this crime?
Well, there was a lot of thieving that went on this morning. They caught one of that foul cat. I'm sure under proper investigation and interrogation, we'll find more of the heretics. You know, those that worship the old gods, those are the ones to blame for this.
What are these old gods I keep hearing people speak of?
He looks over and goes, "You are new here. Are you not from Yakir?"
No, I am not.
And he looks over and goes, "If I looked over you more, I should have told her. The clothing threw me, but you're a sizable individual." He looks over and goes, "Well, before Anktepot came and gave us the gods that we serve now, there were gods here before, but he slayed them. They were not worthy of this domain, I guess. But there are still some that worship the old ways."
Any names?
No, I wouldn't know that. Sabif is older. Maybe he would know. But to be honest, I believe to even speak their names is forbidden.
Perhaps we can get him to write them instead of saying them.
Do you know anything of the priestess here?
Yes. She, like many others, we all are on the same mission, the same accord. We must find the car for the Anktepot. If he does, he will free us.
Do any of you have any idea what that would even look like?
No, for centuries we've looked, and clues and different things. You see, his undead, we search for it in life, and then we search for it in death.
Well, how do you even know what you're looking for? How do you know what you can find it if you don't know what you're looking for?
There's been definitely clues and portents. The priestess will be more to know. She has a better idea of what they're looking for, but we just know that it will be grand when it happens, and perhaps the world will return to the vibrant lushness that it was in the past.
Is she a priestess of Anktepot?
Oh, yes, of course.
Thank you very much. Do you know where to find more... What was the guy's name? Morchief?
Morthus. Oh,
Morthus.
Yes. Morthus, the head of state, if you will. You head down, you see the palace. Large individual, bald head, can't miss him. Very ornate gold, gob.
Does this Ioun stone, is it like a 1-day thing?
Oh, no, I believe as long as it is on your person.
That is
Might be
very
interesting.
advantageous, my friend.
Might I interest you in selling this or trading?
Of course, I would need a good trade. I obviously need to stock up on my wares. What do you have in your possession to trade for this?
What of this beautiful silver mirror? As I pull it out.
No, I will need something magical in nature. It is beautiful, but I believe there are others here that might be interested in that.
Let's see. Do you like potions?
No, that is more knit. I am more interested in magical items. Weapons, if you will. I will take those as well.
You'll get this scimitar of vengeance over my dead buddy. Literally.
He looks over that scimitar and goes, "That is a nice blade. Would you be willing to part with it?
No.
Do you have anything else?"
We always have platinum. Mm-hmm.
Traded the one with wonder, yes. How about these? Are these magical? Now I'm gonna pull out the Sphinx statues.
He looks over the Sphinx statues. He goes, "These are very, very nice. I would be interested in these, but not for trade for the stone. I would give you 10 gold pieces apiece for them. So 20 gold pieces, I'll give you these."
They're no use to us. Well, maybe. Who are they?
He looks over and goes, the two. These would be Neb and Osa.
Are
We've heard
these
them.
old gods or? Are
Oh no, these are the pantheon of Anktepot.
Were those the ones in the
Oh.
river?
Osu and
Neb.
Neb, yeah.
Were those the ones in the river?
Oh yeah, south of here. Marcus, yes.
That's where we've heard it, yeah. Okay.
So these are followers of Anktepot.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And I remember one of them was like the God of the Dead or something? Not God of the Dead, what was it?
Well, one controls the afterlife, and one guards the path of the dead, if you will. A gatekeeper.
We may come back to you on that. The
Yes.
priestess may be interested in these. Maybe
Oh,
this
she may. She may very well.
All right. Thank you.
Well, if you find any other treasures, please come see me first. I need to restock my wares.
What would this be a fair trade? And I'll show him the tome.
He looks over the tome. He goes, "Well," and he looks over. "This is quite magical in nature. I would definitely be interested in trading for this. Would you trade this for the stone?"
Yes, I believe so.
Oh, well, good. It's a good trade. And he hands you over the stone, and you trade him. So you'll trade him the book for the stone.
He's a little too anxious at this. I know what I'm going to say. Well, of course, with some coin for the difference.
Oh, how much coin would you believe?
I'm going to look at Danny and be like,
How much coin you got?
You're gonna have to ask. What's the price?
Make me an offer.
I will give you. He looks over and goes, 40 gold pieces, and the stone.
The stone and 60.
Deal. And with that, he reaches down and he pulls out a pouch and he's like counting out. It's pretty much most of what he has. He hands you over 60 gold pieces and the stone in exchange for the tome.
I got a stone guy. Let me give him a call. See ya.
I got a stone guy.
Yeah.
All right, so we've made some trades in the market. You've picked up the Yun stone. It will need to be attuned. If you
I'm
want.
going to hand it to Danny and be like, I don't need this.
Well, thank you, friend. Thank you. Shall we hit the apothecary? before we go to the priestess?
I believe we're fairly loaded to the gills with potions as we speak.
Yes. Mayhaps they'll have something else.
To fast forward a little bit, you can go over there and see what she has. And what we have here is a younger lady, cauldron, different things bubbling, and she has two potions at that ready. She has a potion of greater healing and a potion of animal friendship.
Okay.
So we're gonna kind of fast forward a little bit.
What does she value the potion of gaseous form that we have at?
Oh, that would be 50 gold pieces she give you.
Would she trade it for the greater healing?
She would.
I believe we need that if we're a little light on the healing.
Sure.
Okay. So you trade the gaseous form potion for the potion of greater healing. This is the bigger version. It's just a little one. All right, so that. And are you interested in the potion of animal friendship, or do you want to sell anything else while you're here? You can kind of fast forward through.
What is the elixir of health that we have?
I'd hold on to that.
I think it cures disease, doesn't it? Yeah. When you go to the tavern, Xiv.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to do for trading? Are we good with this?
We want to head straight. I want to head straight to the.
All right. So what we're gonna do, and the way that I want to do town is this week during Discord. If you guys want to trade a little bit more in town and kind of go backwards, we totally can. I just don't want to kill a lot of game time going through the market. I wanted to roleplay the two pieces that we did because there was a lot of information you get for story. But as far as actual town stuff, I want to keep that out of game time, if that makes sense. So with that, we'll fast forward. So we're leaving the market. Is there anything else you guys want to do important in the market?
Not really.
Okay.
Not currently.
All right, so let's go back. As we're going from the map, we're going to go back to Muhar. All right, and
I have a hat.
You have a hat. So at this point, you're dressed like a Kieran's. You both have new hats. You're walking around with a couple of new items. At this point, are you going to, as you're walking around, are you going to attune to your new Eon Stone, Durandal? It will take up one of your attunement slots, which I believe you have open.
Yeah, okay. Definitely.
All right, so at this point, you can no longer be surprised. You are instantly aware of everything around you. It's almost as if you have like the sixth sense or spider sense as you're walking around. You can kind of sense danger and things around you. As you walk around, you're aware of the birds flying above you. You're aware in the distance. You look out, and on the dune in the distance, you see very far off in the distance, you see a small camp, and you look out and you see a dog walking about. You're instantly aware that Baltazar and Magdalene seem to be camping just outside of town. All of this thing kind of comes into your knowledge as you're just walking around, suddenly very aware of your surroundings as you're walking through. As you're walking through, a small child, you also notice, it walks very closely to Xiv. You kind of cock your head over, and with your eyes glaring under the brim of your new hat, you notice that the child reaches up and begins to reach for the blade of Xiv. Xiv, what is your passive perception?
11.
You notice this as well. You see the small child reach up to the blade, and you kind of turn and look, and the kid looks up to you, and look up to you. You notice this child under the garb is not the face you expected. You expected to see a human face, but you see what looks to be a cat face looking up at you as this little child looks up and goes, "Blade, you have blade."
I'm gonna bend down on one knee and get closer to eye level.
And he looks up and goes, "Where you get blade? I see it before.
Where have you seen this?"
Drawn on the walls."
Show me. What is your name, little friend?
Tosit.
Show me, Tosit. By the way, is that any of your family in the cage?
Yes.
Who is that?
Salto.
Is that your friend?
Uncle.
How do you spell this Sauto's name?
Sauto.
Interesting. You say he's
Did
your
he-
uncle.
Did he really do anything wrong?
Maybe.
Very well. Show me.
Sure.
I'll buy you a snack.
Yes. You will? Yes.
Go by the market and buy him some food.
You walk by the market. He reaches over. They have grilled serpent on a stick that he's looking at. He's very interested in that.
And then I'll hand him a serpent on a stick.
He hands him the
Come,
serpent.
Show
He-
me.
He reaches. He takes it, and he's just like, and just kind of. You see him like kind of like tearing at this little serpent as he walks in. Thank you. Sorry, just haven't eaten in a while. And he walks over, and as he walks over down an alleyway, he looks over and he goes, You'll have to duck. We're going down. And with that, one of the buildings, there's kind of like the steps that kind of go down. And when you walk in, you see others kind of like milling about, kind of move out of your way as the child brings you in. Durandal, you notice as you're looking around that a lot of people seem to be staring at you guys as you're heading down in this direction and watching you. You've gone from just walking and just kind of being lost in the crowd to there are people around you that are watching you what you're doing.
Watching from the inside or watching us go in?
Watching you go in.
So they're kind of in the alley watching us.
Yes.
Why is everyone looking at us, Tosin?
They are friends.
Ah, okay.
And Torsit takes you down as you go down, and what's it be like a subterranean level? As you walk down, and you see like the sand kind of gives way, and there's in the darkness under there, you see a couple of braziers that are not lit, but are still like smoldering. But your dark vision picks up pretty quickly as you walk about. You see others down here. It smells pretty bad down here. You had like the market and the meat and the nice fragrances up top. You get down here, it just smells musty and kind of like lived in. As you go down, and you see several poorer individuals down here. You see like mats in the corner and things like that. And Torsi goes, come. And as he takes you down the hallway, he points, and on the walls of kind of buried under this town, you see these giant stone walls that have these hieroglyphics on it. And he points up, and he reaches, and he points, and he sees this giant warrior, but you only see like part of him, like it's like it's been cut off. But you just see basically from here to here has been missing. So you don't see the head. You just see like the legs and this one arm holding out a very intricately painted blade that looks a lot like the one that Xiv is carrying.
Is it being held against anything? Like swinging at something?
He's just holding it up, and it's almost as if in the image itself, they've got like this like light, almost like drawn off coming out of the pommel of the sword itself.
Torsit, is this one of the old gods?
Yes. We believe so. We don't know. And as he says that, he reaches over, and you see another individual walk up, and he goes, Torsit, thank you so much. I'm glad my friend here could bring you down. My name is Arkham, and how have you come to know this blade? And as he does that, he reaches over and he looks, and he kind of points, and other individuals are kind of like blocking the entrance that you came down, moving things around to kind of like as if that entrance doesn't exist anymore, as they're kind of like moving boxes and crates and things. And you notice that you're kind of like sealed in, and there's about 20 or some odd people down here kind of milling around. No one's armed that you can tell. They're all just wearing, desert garb. They don't look hostile in any way, but they all are definitely blocking you in.
Is there enough room to actually hold the blade aloft in the style that's on the wall?
It would be tight. You could pull as big as you are, probably not. You would like basically.
What if I kneeled down?
If you kneel down a little bit, you could, yes.
I'm gonna try to emulate the thing and speak to the sword and say, "Is this you?"
You hear the voice of the blade come out, and only you hear, and it says, "It is I."
What is your purpose?
I was forged to slay the undead.
What was the sword's name again?
Galvin.
Galvin.
Akan, is it?
Hmm?
The man that's talking to us. now.
Akan. Yes. Yes, yes.
Akan, are these... I assume that you are not like the others here and that you do not worship Anktepot.
Oh no. We are a bit of a rebellion. We do not want to find the car to return him to his glory. But we want to find it so that we can kill him.
Are these humans, or are they tabaxi, or everything?
You're talking to a human. The only tabaxi you've seen has been the one there and then the child. The rest of these look like human or possibly half-elf. They call us heretics because we believe in the old gods. We want to return the land the way it was, that our forefathers, our ancestors. We have writings that speak of lush landscapes. It was beauty and green. And now there's this desolate place brought to us by that pharaoh.
How long has he been here?
It's hard to tell. Millennia.
Does anyone know the names of these old gods?
We don't have names, we have signs and symbols. We don't understand the hieroglyphics that are written into the walls. Etched away, lost in time. Only things that have been passed down. But we do know that one of them is the sun and the stars that light the way, blocked by the mist itself. For we know that one and we worship the sun.
I'm going to take a look around at the other hieroglyphics, with their permission.
You look about and very, very faded. You see whichever the individual and it is broken off, holding the blade itself. You see what looks to be like bones in front of them as the light is like pushing out over the bones itself. It looks like he was a champion of some way, and it kind of marries up to what you think as you're looking at. And Xiv, you're looking at it makes sense that this blade has some power over the undead. This blade may be a lot more than what you think it is.
If these people's only crime is worshipping their gods, the original gods, I feel compelled.
I also feel like this sword does not belong near the priestess.
I would say that's probably a very, very good observation. Maybe we shouldn't bring out these statues as well, since they are of the old gods.
No.
Those
they're
are the new
gods.
gods.
Okay, those are the new gods. Okay, we will definitely bring those out then. Yes.
Akan, do you mind if I sit here for a moment and contemplate on this with the blade?
Yes, we have a better place if you want to go further down. There's pools that were lost, but we know where they are, if you wish to go there.
Thank you for taking us in. I assume the blade is carrying some weight here in the fact that we may serve similar interests.
I have a question. If you found the blade, or did the blade come to you? Are you now its champion?
Well, we get along famously.
It might be destiny that you came here to free us.
What will they do to Salto? Will
Unfortunately,
he sit up there until he rots, or will
they
they?
will make an example of him at night. And when he says that, you hear Torch say, "They're gonna roast him!"
Are they gonna burn him at the stake?
Or in the box, as it were.
These people are evil. We need to be careful if we meet with this priestess.
Durandal, do you still have that potion of invisibility?
No, you don't. You used it.
But I have a spell where we can pass unseen. Or, what's it called? Let me look.
Akan, how many guards are in this town?
Oh, several dozen. We could get an exact count if you wanted. I would guess between 30 and 40.
If this town were liberated of them and of the priestess, would they send more?
Well, here's the problem with that, is that the living are not the worst part of what could come. You remember the undead? They serve Anktepot. If we were to any type of uprising, they would come and subjugate us as well. And we would rather the living than the dead, if it were.
Yes.
Our best course of action has been to try to find clues of this car and find it before they do. And that is what Salto meant to do. There was something that was brought in earlier this morning before dawn, and he went to liberate it before it was delivered to the priestess. And we're not quite sure what it is. And Torch goes, I know what it was. I saw it. The child seems to think it's some type of amulet.
Where is it now?
It is with the priestess.
Does this have anything to do with Rise? With his shop being burglarized?
We might have had something to do with it.
I thought so. Good work. Good work.
Do
We
you
have-
any of his other belongings?
Oh, we do, but we've already sent it out. What you're seeing here is our... Not all of us. There are more out in the way, and we try to keep them armed. And any opportunity we get, we pilfer what we can and send to them. We have others out.
In
Explorers.
the city?
No, in the sands, searching their own, looking for the car themselves. We try to keep them armed and equipped as much as we can.
Maybe we should meet this priestess and tell her that we will help her find this car.
I do have something for you. We did keep one thing that we looted this morning, or borrowed. And I look, and he sees that you're carrying a bow. He goes, might be something that you're interested in. And he looks over and he goes, I do. And he says, and he calls it I do. And I do comes running up, and he has like this blanket wrapped over, and he hands you what looks to be one single arrow.
Thank you, friend.
Khan, how can we help your people?
Help us find the car. Slay Anktepot. We believe if you have the sword, maybe you could do it. You could meet
Well,
our warriors in the field.
I had already planned on it.
Oh, good. It seems it is destiny then. It is destiny.
He has enslaved a friend of mine.
Well, we are all enslaved in him in life and in death until he has been removed. And as he's saying that, Durandal, you look over, you uncover the blanket, and you find a very odd arrow. Its design is beyond anything that you've seen before. It has the feathers on the back are almost like metallic in nature. The front of it almost gleams this white yellow off of the edge of it. As you look over, you simply ask what it is, and Akeem says, well, we know what it is. That is an arrow of slaying, but more importantly, it is an arrow of slaying the undead. I regret that we only have one.
Oh, this is invaluable, friend.
We were saving it for that day, but I believe the wielder of the blade and his companion should have the tools to help us.
I thank you.
We have a horse that needs tending. I'm terribly worried about him. It's dreadfully hot outside.
He is still, we'll say he's tied at the stable out, so he's fine. We will see that he is fed.
Please take me to these pools. I need to ponder some things.
And with that, he takes you down to the pools. You go further down into the subterranean cavern, which feels like you can't tell if you're in town or out of town at this point. As you go down, you kind of crawl down. There are others down here. It seems there's a lot of people down here that are sick. You hear a lot of coughing and wheezing and everything. People are bathing in the pools. You hear them praying and hoping that the pools will heal them. They're calling on the power of the pools in some way. It's kind of you don't know if there's actual healing power in the pools or not, but they seem to think there is. You find a place that you can sit down and ponder what you will. And as you do that, we're going to pause on your story, and we're going to go back to Durandal. Now, Durandal, as Xiv goes down to ponder the meaning of all these things, what is it that you would like to do?
I'm going to ask him. I will not let Salto die. So, I would like to try to free him tonight, if possible.
Okay.
Also,
we can create a distraction if you have a way of saving him.
We'll come up with something. Me and my friend here, we can come up with something. How else can we help you?
Do you think you could get that amulet away from the priestess? We don't know what it is, but we believe it.
Very important.
It might be something of the old gods. That is, and Torsi goes, "It is, I tell you it is." And he looks, and he points at the hilt of the blade itself, that is marked on the wall. It has like this light emanating out of it, and he goes, "See, it looks like that. It looks like that. It's circular. It has these pointy ends." Torsit seems to have seen it in a moment.
Okay. Good eyes, Torsit. Good eyes. Okay. Are there any priests here that are good with curses?
Yes. That is something. There are many curses that whirl the deserts. They are quite adept at healing them.
Okay. Are they here or are they out in town?
Oh, no. You'd have to go see. Unfortunately, Rekota, her priests could help you with that.
Rekota.
That's the priestess that we're talking about. Her name is Rekota.
Okay. I see. Well, it looks like we have many things coinciding with this priestess. So after my friend is done, perhaps we can go see her.
What if Durandal, during the escape of the man that is trapped, you snuck into the priestess's quarters and tried to steal the amulet? Two-prong attack. I mean, you can't be surprised.
That's true. I also have some things I can do to sneak around. Do you believe we should talk to the Vistani while we are here?
I'm not sure if we've seen any.
You might have seen some milling around town.
We're not interested in leaving here until we've accomplished our goal.
Correct. Maybe we should leave them for another day.
I think we need to get the lay of that priestess's location.
Yes.
Akan, I do not know you very well, but you've trusted us greatly, and I
trust whoever carries that blade.
Well, hear me. I may need to leave the blade here and not have it disappear while we go visit with the priestess.
We can hold it for you.
Can I trust you, though?
With my life, you can trust me.
Do you believe the priestess knows of this blade's significance?
I do not know. There are other glyphs, if you will, under her under her palace. We have not been able to see those, so we don't know what she knows.
It's not worth the risk.
Right.
Do you have another? Yeah. Do you have another weapon that I could use in the stead?
We could get you a blade.
It needs to be large.
Large blade. Would an axe do?
Perhaps, but a large axe.
I'll get you a very large axe, I believe. He goes, Ibu, Ibu, and he reaches up and goes, and he starts talking to Ibu, and Ibu is hiss, and he kind of bows and he leaves. A few moments later, he comes back dragging in this giant, looks like a giant lumberjack axe, but it's very big. Big double-bladed, great axe, if you will. But he does come back with a giant axe.
It's not an ego thing. It just looks ridiculous in my hands unless it's proportional.
Well, you have a giant axe. So he gives you the giant axe. It does a D12 instead of a 2D6 that you've been accustomed to. But you do have that. You leave the blade. Now, is there anything that you want to do while you were contemplating by the pools?
I wanted to reach out to Galvin and kind of get an idea of this is what I'm meant to do.
Galvin.
It's not very chatty.
Galvin, as you're contemplating, you hear Galvin say, I wish to slay the undead, but I also would wish to return to my former master. He is still here.
How would we know?
I sense him. He is not living and not dead. He is somewhere in between. Trapped, but he is here. And he could aid you.
Interesting.
I wonder if he's down in these catacombs.
Can you lead us to him?
All I know is that he is north.
I'm going to pull out the map and see what's north of us. Not much.
Not much.
The oasis. Slithering sands. Ooh, there's a pyramid.
Interesting. Okay. Akan, what is north of Muhar?
The oasis is the closest thing, and then sand, and the barrier of this world and the next. The sands and the mist, they do not permit us to go much further. We have never been that far.
Well, I'm not going to tell him that I'm not the true wielder of it.
That is need-to-know information.
But I'm still, this seems to coincide with my goal of freeing Nylissa.
Okay.
So, I think it's time we tried to pay the priestess a visit.
Agreed. We have many things. Talk to her with. About.
I believe we should go under the guise of returning these statues to their rightful owner to try to curry favor. And while we're there, to see as much of the layout as we can.
It's a very wonderful idea, Xiv.
Hey, it's not just a pretty face under this fez.
I don't know how we can get a picture of this Frankenstein's monster in a fez. If we have anyone watching or listening that has any artistic ability whatsoever, I would love to see the zombie in a fez. Personally, I think that would be hilarious. Alright. So, with this, are you guys wanting to go to the priestess's establishment?
Yes.
Okay. So let's move to that. So at this point, you have left the blade behind with the rebellion, that we'll call it, or the heretics of the old gods, and you move back into the city. Now, as you move back into the city, The sun is starting to wane. You're in the later part of the afternoon. There's a little bit of a crowd gathering back towards the entrance. Seem to be throwing small rocks and rotten fruit at the poor tabaxi in the box, and you can hear the cheers of they know what's coming as they're starting to gather timber and sticks in the middle, closer to here, where they're gonna basically roast the cat as soon as the sun goes down. So there's a little bit of an excitement with that. But you're heading over in this direction to this establishment in the back. You get the fence. The gates of the fence are open. There's some people motioning back and forth. You see several people in priest garb, white linens and silky robes walking about. And then with that, you see that a large individual, bald-headed, wearing a golden, like a shoulder plate, as if it were, looking about. He seems to be guarding everything and kind of talking to everybody and kind of commanding the crowd, as it were. You look over, and this must be the Morthus that were told that was in the second in command, the head of state, if it were. But you see him as you two come walking up. And with that, Durandal, what would you like to do?
And this is right outside of. This is where
You're
Salto.
Here. No, Salto
okay.
is here. This is going to be back here, the other side of town.
All right. Hello, friend.
Oh, what would you like? What have you come here for?
We would like an audience with the priestess, if possible.
Have you brought a gift?
We have.
May I see it?
I'll pull out one of the statues and I'll be like, there's more where this one came from.
Sure. She's just finishing up with one more. When he's done, I'll come and get you. And with that, he reaches over and he kind of rings a bell. And as soon as that, you see a couple of guards walking over with large pikes and spears. Look over, both of you. And with that, they see Xiv carrying this large axe. And Mortha goes, nope, no blades, no bows. Leave your weapons behind.
Oh, of course. Curiosity, when's the show going to start? And I'm going to kind of, grin evilly.
And one of the guards goes, just as soon as the sun goes down. It's going to be wonderful. The last one we did screamed for hours. It seems to be a slow process.
Do we have possibly 10, 15 minutes before?
Oh, yeah, sure. There's lots of festivities before.
Could I go and leave this axe somewhere else and come back?
Best hurry. They're almost done.
Okay. I'm going to pull Danny aside and say, I have an idea. Give me the potion of invulnerability.
Friend. Pull it out.
Yoink! I'm going to take it, and I'm going to hurry back to try to find a way back to the area that we were, kind of as inconspicuously as a 7-foot man can.
Okay. All right. So you're going to double back. At this point, do we want to move forward with Durandal doing the?
This won't take but a second.
Okay. All right. So you go back. And what are you wanting to do?
I'm wanting to find the little cat friend to see if there's any way to get anything to somebody last visit from family, anything. He's in a metal box. What's he gonna do?
Yes, I think I could throw it to him.
Take this. He needs to drink it before it begins, and make sure he knows to make a grand show of not his gods are protecting him.
I'll see what I can do. Yes. A note. I'll give him a note. Yes. And so he goes and he grabs it and he goes and he talks to Idu, who seems to be kind of the go-to for everything down here. And they're kind of working on getting him this vial. And you see
I'm also going to hand him the giant axe and make him fall over and be like, oh, and hold this. And then I'm just going to walk away.
And then you hear him back. He goes, the champion chose me to do something important. And he's excited that this champion, this warrior they've been waiting for, his divine presence has come, and he seems to be excited that he's part of whatever grand plan you have. And with that, you've kind of set that wheel in motion, and now you head back to be with Durandal, who is about to be in the audience of the priestess. And with that, we're gonna move scene as Morthus, is about to announce you two, and Morthus goes, by the way, I didn't get your names. Large fellow, your name is?
Lawrence.
Lawrence. And you, smaller individual, what is your name, sir?
Fishburne.
Lawrence and Fishburne. Very well, very well. Come on in. And with that, he rings the bell, and the audience kind of opens. And we're going to move scene as we go into the, that's the market. We're not going to the market. We're going into the palace itself. All right. So as we move into the palace, you see several braziers that are slightly lit. The coals are still kind of giving off some ambient light. It's very open in here. You see large like stone columns. You see several individuals in the back. You see one with holding the giant fan as she's like waving it back and forth over this female that's walking out. And with that, we do have an image of Anktepot. So let me. And you see this individual. We'll blow that up. Fairly young, jet black hair, wearing the silken robes. It has like this blue staff, this cobalt staff that has like the golden figurehead on the top of it. As she walks out, she's completely garbed in gold, necklace and the giant, like really like a centerpiece sitting on her chest itself. Golden crown as she walks forward. Several servants walking behind her, keeping her cool and keeping her shaded. As she walks up and goes, "What have you brought?"
Oh, in our travels we have found some items that we believe should belong to a priestess of the mighty Anktepot.
And she goes and she sits at her table. As she sits, there's a table. She sits in her chair. There's these two statues of these two dogs that look like they have a similar head. Durandal of the skeleton thing that you fought earlier, the jackal-looking head. She sits down and he goes, "Please present them." And so there's a place at the table. The servants are going to kind of take whatever it is that you've brought. They take the two statues and they go and they sit down and they put them. He goes, "Oh yes, Osa and Neb. And where did you find these two?"
Some travelers had them, and we traded some valuable things to get these back to the rightful owner.
"We appreciate your service. These two pieces were stolen from our vault, so I'm glad that you were able to retrieve them."
Those
Heretics.
reprobates.
I hope that when you traded, you didn't cross blades with them. I would hope that something would befall them, but it sounds that is not what happened.
Oh, we are far more civilized than that.
Do you know what direction they were heading, so that I may tell my lord where to find them? And when she says that, there's like an audible gasp from her servants, like,
Whichever way they were heading, the opposite way.
So north. They were heading north. I will tell them. And she reaches over and there's this little like screeching thing that kind of like comes like out of like, you're not really sure where it came from. Like it almost came out of her sleeve. But you see this little screeching thing, and you see what looks to be like a dead bird come out, and you see like these rotting feathers coming off of it. And she whispers something to it in a language you don't quite understand, and somehow, remarkably, this zombie-looking bird starts flapping its what used to be wings, takes flight, and then kind of like leaves to deliver this message. "Have you brought anything else?"
I'm gonna be staring at the bird and say, how much can that thing carry?
Oh, well, it's enchanted. It can carry much more than a typical fowl. You seem to be a very remarkable individual. You are both cunning and tenacious.
Well, thank you. I'm a bit absent-minded, though, sometimes.
What else can I do for you before I retire? There are some festivities I must attend to tonight.
We are tenacious and cunning and great warriors. We would like to help you in any way to find the great soul of Anktepot.
Ah, if you do, please see Morthos. We have leads coming in all of the time. Our latest lead, I will tell you, we believe that the soul has been unable to be found because we believe it is hidden where the main army of Anktepot cannot go. Perhaps consecrated a holy place from these old gods are protecting it.
These old gods never get out of the way, do they?
Where might that be?
There are several locations. We believe there's one underground that we are investigating under the oasis just north of here.
Well, if we were to be of service, and I'm going to pull out the map and say, could you show us where we might be used?
That oasis north of us.
Yes, I just sent a detachment just a few days ago to the same location. They met heavy resistance, but they were able to retrieve one treasure. And she reaches over and she on the table you see before you, she reaches out and she lets down this circular item that has like this gold tassel, and she goes, they recovered this. And let me pull this handout out as well.
Oh. I'm something of a... I will tell you my two passions. Archaeology and architecture. The two A's, I like to say. Might I look at that closer?
But of course, my seers have been unable to determine anything other than its rudimentary design. And with that, she reaches over and Morthus goes and he picks up. They've got it on like this little platter, this little plate. There's like a cloth on it, like the silk cloth that's sitting on that. And he goes and he hands it and he goes, observe. And then you see this amulet before you, and Torset might be onto something.
And I'm going to say, I don't want to be improper, but might I place my hand upon it? I'm curious of the texture.
And Morthus kind of looks over the shoulder of, and to look back at the priestess, and she goes, allow it. I'm intrigued to see what this traveler may know.
I want to place my hand on it and see if I feel the same presence that is with the sword.
Give me an Arcana check.
I'll use knowledge from a past life as well.
2.5 hours in, I think that's our first roll, boys. What do we got?
18 plus... What is knowledge from past life? Is it
D6.
So
Plus 2, that's a 20. It is radiating arcane energy. It is powerful, but you notice there's something subtle about the magic. It's almost like it's wanting to be hidden.
It's wanting to be hidden?
Yeah, it's very elusive. Like, you only caught a whiff of it.
It's trying to hide itself from the baddies. Looks to me like it's just a piece of junk that heathens and those who deal in sacrilege would worship. Why would they want that?
Give me a deception check, Durandal.
Oh, good with my +0.
All the social encounter.
Oh, God.
He rolls an 18, ladies and gentlemen. Straight up. Who needs stats? The priest says, I tend to agree with you. I believe this detachment did not bring back much of anything of worth.
What will you do with it?
I will tell you this, my lady. I believe this item was not meant to be alone. It is to be paired with a dagger or blade, something of that nature.
I was curious how you define that. Is it a socket of some sort? Is it a piece of something else?
Perhaps. But something is familiar about this. I've seen this symbol somewhere.
Oh? And where is that? I am intrigued.
I've
Is it
seen
one of the ruins on our journey?
possible. Like I said, I am archaeology and antiquities and, architecture. We have surveyed many ruins on our way, and I feel like I've seen this in a hieroglyph somewhere that we've traveled from the north to the south to Muhar.
We've seen so many, I can't recall.
Which technically everything I just said is completely true.
That is true. What do you think we should do with it?
Don't tell me you want this, Lawrence.
I would not.
Oh, you and your trinkets.
I would not want to be caught dead by any of Octopot's followers with this item. I will tell you that.
And the priestess goes, "You believe this is of the old gods?"
I believe this is the most highest sacrilege possible.
Persuasion check? Is that deception? I think it's persuasion.
I'm not lying.
I know. Persuasion.
What am I trying to persuade her?
You're trying to persuade her. Okay. Is there a question here? Oh, you're trying to persuade her to believe that it is also one of the old gods. It's a sacrilege. You're trying to
The
persuade
item
her?
itself at the top says Amulet of the Old Gods.
Well,
so
because
figured
I
that
named
was-
it that. Right.
He doesn't know, right?
I'm just trying. I need to do something real quick.
Sure. Durandal, what are you doing?
Milady, would you, since obviously he's not going to give this up, would you accept a trade for this worthless bauble? Just so he won't keep me up all night talking about it, and what did you think it looked like that?
I am
And on our-
not here. I'm not here for trading. I only accept gifts. I do not trade such things. I would be interested in finding out more about this. Your friend mentions it as part of part of the old gods. If that is the case, it may not be something of useful to me unless it is something to point the way of. Maybe these heretics are guarding the Khan. That is why it has been kept from us. Maybe we need to keep this under lock and key.
I don't know. To me, it looks worthless, but
Well, Fishburne, as it were. I appreciate your candor, but I will let learned men and your friend, who seems obviously, no offense, more intelligent than you, have a more.
he is. Absolutely. I'm the brawn, if you can't tell. He's the brains.
And with that,
Lady.
there's kind of the snickering.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
kind of cut him off and be like, "My lady, I do not want part of this item. What I do wish is to let you know that I do not believe a follower of Octopot should be found with this on their person. Now I can understand you having it here, safe. Do not have it on you."
All right, with that, that's a persuasion check. That's a persuasion check. So let's roll it. Do you want to use your knowledge of the past on this?
No, I'm trying to. I mean, she can either be persuaded or not. It's not gonna. If it
Right.
fails, then
Right. Okay. All right. Can you persuade her that she should not keep this thing on her?
13.
13. Okay. I gotta look her up. It's a 12. That's a 12. She pauses and goes, Lawrence, I believe you're correct, and I believe I should not keep this. Morthus, please, lock this up with the rest of the artifacts that we have of the old gods. We'll keep it separate and outside the grounds. And Morthus goes, my lady, sure. And he retrieves it and kind of wipes it up, hands it over to one of his servants and relays the message to him. And you see a servant leave out of the back gate heading back out to take this somewhere. Durandal, you're very keen and aware of where this person is going, as it seems to be he's going to some type of... He's outside the encampment itself, maybe like a storehouse or something.
Well,
Okay.
my lady, I do not wish to tie up more of your time, but my friend Durandal has another engagement.
Fishburne.
Can you hear me?
Fishburne.
Yeah.
And with that, she goes, well, Lawrence, if I am completely honest, you are more than welcome to return anytime. Your friend, maybe not so much. And,
No problem.
I assume this is a holy place for his worshippers, am I correct?
oh, of course.
Would I be welcome to look at the architecture here?
Oh, sure. And she goes and she claps. She goes, Morthus, allow him to peruse the grounds, and I wish to retire. And with that, she stands, as everyone bows as she stands up. She moves out. The servants follow her. Morthus looks over. He kind of looks at Durandal, or Fishburne, as it were, and say, you can leave. And he's kind of separating the two. So Durandal, you're kind of escorted out as Xiv, or Lawrence, as they believe his name is allowed to walk about the grounds. Now, as that happens, Durandal, you go outside as Xiv is walking about and looking at the architecture on the inside, and kind of getting like the nickel tour, or the copper tour, if it were. And Durandal, you go outside. You are very aware of your surroundings, and you spot that same servant going and delivering the item into what looks to be some type of guarded storehouse outside. You see two guards in there, and it's like a small building outside that is guarded, but it's like this is where they keep things of not of important nature.
Gotcha. All right. I'm gonna mark that. Just remember it.
Okay. Alright, as Xiv is away, so let's focus on Durandal for a bit. What do you want to do?
Can I kind of tail him up to it so I see him going into it or handing it off?
Yes, you do.
Okay, can I kind of, is it anywhere where I can actually walk kind of around it?
Yes, you could. There is a wall on the other side of it. So you can, like, basically, you walk out, but you see, like, basically there's I'll get the map. I'll show you where it's at. Okay. So basically there's, like, a little building attached here. You can't see because there's a building here. So you walked out here. You walk out this gate. So as you walk out and go outside the gate, at the outer wall behind you, there's a small structure that seems to be where they keep, various things. It's if nothing else, it's like a storage container where they keep various things. And then you're out. It seems like she's very interested in getting that away from the sacred area of Anktepot, heeding the advice of Xiv. The barbarian convinced the priestess not to keep that around, which is hilarious. So with that, what would you like to do? So now you're outside the gates. It's getting dark. You hear the cows jeering. They haven't quite started the barbecue yet. So what would you like to do?
It's getting close to dark.
Mm-hmm. I guess the question is, at this point, do you want to double back and go for the amulet, or do you want to go and try to rescue the cat?
Yeah, I'm definitely going to try to help with the cat.
Okay. So you leave, you go back down. Ziv is on his own. Yeah, he's on his. So we're splitting the party at this point. Ziv's doing his thing. Durandal, you're moving forward. You go down. You see everyone is kind of cheering about. As soon as you walk up, you turn to your right, and you see a small child running up to you. You say, "Where's the champion? Where's your champion? I did it.
It'll be along soon. Don't you worry."
I think my uncle's going to be okay. He got the message. and you hear this screaming and screeching and crying as this cat is like being like, basically they've got like this giant rope and they've got this crate and they're kind of dangling it over this bonfire and everyone's kind of cheering and everything, and you hear like, burn the heretic, and at this point, you see like the pitchforks and the torches and the villagers are in full regalia at this point as they're going to burn the heretic at the stake, or the cat in the box. So that is happening. What do you want to do at this point? It seems that it's starting at this point.
I'm going to pull a scroll out from the bag, give it to the little cat boy and say, do me a favor. Go over there and read this. And as soon as you're done reading it, scream as loud as you can.
What scroll are you giving it?
That the old gods have returned. And they are coming here to seek vengeance upon. And that everyone needs to repent.
Okay, alright, so just so you understand how this works, okay? If you're giving him the scroll to summon the Celestial, he will have to make a religion check to see if he can cast it. Now, I'm willing to roll that.
Give it to a con.
Yeah.
You hear this voice echoing from the distance. Great idea. Maybe a different caster.
Okay, we'll do that. I'll run to a con real fast.
Okay.
Be like, all right, you've done well, boy. You've done well.
Okay.
And
right.
I'm going to grab Xiv's greatsword.
Okay. Oh, you're grabbing the sword. Okay.
I'm going to tell him the plan. Akan.
Okay, so you tell Akan the plan to go read the scroll, summon the Celestial, have Torsit yell out that the old gods have returned. So you're trying to create mass chaos to create this. All right, so we're going to kind of go through this. All right, so at this point, you hand the scroll to Akan as the sun goes down, as the moon goes up, as the torches of the city are lit, the bonfires, right? The crowd is cheering, and at that, Akan goes and gets on this rooftop over here, because all of this is happening here in the main square. He gets up on the rooftop, he pulls out the scroll, and attempts to cast this spell. Fumbling about, he's reading over it and is flustered, and you're watching as he doesn't seem to understand all of the intricacies of doing this. What do you want to do? He's really fumbling.
Can I try to read it?
You'll have to run up there.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. All right,
that's on my way.
Right, so you run up there, you scale the side of the building, you run up to the top. You notice that the fire is going, the cat is cindering and like it's kind of engulfing the cat, but seems to be, he's screaming, but the fire just doesn't seem to want to completely engulf him, and the crowd is getting a little like, anxious about like, hey, what's taking so long? This cat should burn already. So with that, you roll and see if you can cast the scroll.
All right, I'm not even going to look.
That is an 18. That is a 17 plus 1 for his religion check. You summon the Celestial. Now, the Celestial that comes out, you see this giant archoned angel appear above with a giant flaming sword. As soon as this giant archon appears above the city, everyone starts screaming and running. Some guards, they go to they're gonna swing at it. They drop the weapons. Everyone is running. There's giant horns being blown around town as people are spread out and screaming like crazy as this giant archon is basically just appeared waiting for your command because you control it. You hear this voice in your head booming out, just, "What is thy bidding?"
Slay all followers, all soldiers and priests and priestesses of Anktepot.
And with that, it just starts swinging this giant flaming sword and just starts wailing and attacking the guards first. As the giant divine sword comes down and crashes, you see this bodies being incinerated in the middle of town. Not the cat, but the guards itself. As all this is happening, Torsit on command goes, "The old gods have returned!" With that, there's horns being blowing throughout the town as this giant celestial is just laying waste. And with that, Durandal, what would you like to do?
I'm gonna just run as fast as I possibly can.
As soon as you drop down, you're running down, you notice that the guards that were basically holding the pole have dropped, and now the pole is just kind of hanging like between it's on the wall. So there's like this giant pole on the side of the wall. In the middle of that, there's like this cage ripped up. It's still hanging over the bonfire itself, but you're running down. What would you like to do?
So it's right above me.
You're down on the ground at this point.
And he's still in the cage.
Yes, he's still in the cage.
Okay. How far up is it?
It's about 12 feet.
Ooh, okay. I'll just scale up the side here and try to... Is there a way that I could bring him to one of these two towers?
Yeah, you could basically go and grab the pole and just kind of like start pulling the pole over. It will like drop off the side but you're just basically, if you pull him as fast as you can, give me an athletics check to see if you can just pull the cat across.
You sure it's not acrobatic?
It is athletics. This is definitely a mighty 3. You pull it. As you do, it drops. The cage slides down the other side of the pole. The box lands directly in the bonfire. As the fire just starts consuming, and you have this moment of as you see this cat now is in the middle of the bonfire. You hear the screaming of Torsit, like Salto, no, and you see like everyone else is running away from the giant archon of death that's standing close to the bonfire, swinging the giant flaming sword. But what would you like to do?
Going to scream out, "Look, the old gods return! Salto is invulnerable. He's not burning."
You scream that, and the few people that are around, they're just mass chaos. Everyone is basically running for their life. You're pretty much alone at this point. And Akeem is looking up and goes, "Salto, no!" Like they're all screaming that. So you're closest to the bonfire. You're up on the wall. The few guards that remain are burned to cinders from the giant celestial. What do you want to do at this point?
Is he locked in there? Is it a lock?
It looks like a locked cage, yes.
Okay, can I pull out my... Well, actually, what is unlock? What is that?
Well, right now, the cage is in the bonfire, so the first thing I do is get the cage out of the bonfire.
Is he still invulnerable?
Right now, all you're seeing is flames and cat.
Okay. I'm just gonna try to pull it out if I can.
Okay. So you run over, you're kind of bracing yourself through the bonfire itself. You just kind of grab it and pull it back. Now, you're gonna have to roll like a dex save here to try to not get engulfed in the flames. So give me a dexterity saving throw.
Did it roll?
No.
It didn't roll?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. All right, hold on.
25! That is a 19 plus 6. You easily ducking out of the way of the flames. You quickly pull it out, using your bow to kind of roll the cage out to not actually touch the scalding hot. You pull it back. So now you've got the cage free, and with that you're quickly able to get the lock out and pop poor Salto out of, and as he reaches out, you can hear his bones kind of pop into place as he's been no telling how long he's been there about a day. So you get him out of, and you have now saved Salto. All of the guards at this point are fleeing town, as this isn't gonna let the Celestial doesn't stay around forever. So at this point, what do you want to do? You have now saved Salto.
I'm going to say, Salto, you can either come with me or get to safety.
I think about it. This thing lasts an hour.
I'm gonna be like, come on, buddy.
Yeah, it's just laying waste. At this point, several of the priests of Anktepot have arrived. You hear another bellowing call as the priests have shown up, as they start casting. And as they start casting, you see a darkness kind of come over, and you hear this screeching sound as as other servants of Anktepot have come to battle the Celestial. They're calling in reinforcements is basically what is happening here. So there's a battle going on between the Celestial and the followers of Anktepot. You, at this point, can get Salto to safety. He is hot to touch. His clothing has been completely burned. He, on the other hand, looks unharmed.
All right. Okay. I'm going to tell him he can either come with me or get to safety.
Okay. Sure. Where am I going?
I'm going to say we're getting the amulet.
What? You get the amulet?
Yes.
Sure. He's panicking. He's just like, he was just in a box all day and was about to be fried.
That'd be like a little animal check. I'm just kidding.
Animal handling. No, it's not animal handling. All right. So the two of you, he calms down. Torset runs up. He goes, Uncle, and they're reunited. And Salto goes, you need my help now.
Who Torset says that, the little one?
No, Salto. He's asking, do you need help?
We're going. There's a storehouse right outside of the priestesses that houses the amulet that I'm going to go get.
What do you need me to do?
If you would like to come, you're more than welcome. But if you would like to get to safety, I understand.
I can help you. I can help
All right.
you. It's time.
Let's go.
Okay. With that, the two of you, Salto turns to Torset. It's going to be okay. This individual is going to help us, and we'll get the amulet. Whatever happens, just know that I love you. And Torset goes, Uncle, don't do anything crazy. And Salto goes, no, it'll be okay. And so the two of you go back, and at this point, the palace is kind of like, there's only a few guards in the back. There's several, looks like something's flying in. You look above, you see what looks to be like, they look like zombies that are flying in. They've got these giant bat wings that are flying in to battle the Celestial, as the armies of Anktepot are showing up to battle this thing. So there's mass chaos in the street as the Celestials are swinging the flaming sword, the big flying wings. The city is aflame as the priests are battling. A great opportunity as you two go up. There is one guard. Morthus is standing back, kind of directing traffic and kind of like calling in for people to come up. Archers on the wall! And as he's saying that, Salto looks at him and goes, I'll take care of him. I owe him. You go for the amulet. Is it inside or does the priestess have it?
It's inside a storehouse right outside.
I'll take care of Morthus. You take care of that. And with that, he reaches back and he goes, and he looks up, and as he looks up to the moon pauses. There's a moment where it's almost like the storm moves out of the way, and as you do that, you see Salto kind of like break, and you see his shoulder like pop into place as he kind of becomes like this larger like tiger beast, and he starts like running forward as he like transforms into some type of were-tiger as he runs forward and starts slashing at Morthus. He lets out this giant roar as Morthus goes, no! And he's getting clawed by this giant black and gray, completely naked were-tiger that is now slashing Morthus. And with that, the storehouse is clear. You've got a clear runway as you go around.
All right. I'm going to go up to it and try to pick the lock.
You go up without a problem. You just take your blade, you just smash the lock, you open it up. You see several other trinkets in there as well, but you do see the amulet wrapped up and sitting as it were. So you grab the few things that are in there quickly while you've got the opportunity. You grab the amulet and you grab the other knickknacks and things that we'll post later. You're just grabbing everything you can. You stuff them into your bag of holding, and you look about, and you don't know where Xiv is, but you know it's time for you to leave. You can quickly go back out the way you came, or do you want to scale the wall and go outside of town? Because
I'm going to peek out and see how the were-tiger's doing.
The were-tiger has completely brutally murdered Morthus and is moving towards the guards.
Then I will scale the building.
Okay.
And kind of Scooby-Doo out of there.
All right, so you scale the building and you leave. And with that, you make it into the dead of night as several moments pass before the celestial finally dissipates, and you hear cheers coming from inside as they feel the armies of Anktepot have been victorious, and everyone is thankful that the priestess was there to protect them from the vile old gods that meant to burn their civilization to the ground again. But you get out, and you're outside of town, and then as you go into your bag, you pull up, and now you are now holding this amulet that seemed to be so important to the Akiran, to the heretics, and you wonder what exactly is the rest of the story of this amulet. And with that, the orb begins to shake and glisten as it begins to shrink, and we are returned again to the tavern. And with that, as the orb closes, Marcus goes, and that is where we will pick up next week as we continue our story. And now we understand so much more about this domain of Harakir, about the story of Anktepot, and what they mean to do to cause this insurrection, as it were. So please, come back next week as we'll find out more about what happened to Xiv as he was investigating the structure, while our friend Durandal summoned the old god, if it were. Thank you so much for all for joining us as we continue next week, and please be sure to tip your waitress on the way out. Thank you so much, and we'll be back next week for our next exciting story of our journey to the Masters of Dread. Thank you so much. And with that, we'll pick up next week for episode 10 of Masters of Dread. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and see you guys next week.